Hello everyone, it's Debbie Gilbert from the Best Businesswomen Awards, and today we are talking about mindset. And I am joined by NLP expert Dee Clayton from Simply Amazing Training.
Hi, Debbie.
Hello, and I'll let her introduce herself in a minute. And what we're going to talk about is this whole piece around, I'm not really good enough to enter awards, and I feel like, it feels a bit, can't get over that sort of barrier of, really confidence. I think it does boil down to confidence. So, Dee, introduce yourself and then let's dive straight into the topic.
Sure. So I set up my training business about 18 years ago. And I'm passionate about these things called monkeys, which I talk to a lot of people about these little monkeys. Here they are, these little fellas. And they talk to us in our head and they tell us we can't do things when we know we can do them. But the monkeys tell us we can't do them. We're not good enough. And often I work with people to do with public speaking, which is another area where it shows up. But, I've known you for donkey's years now, and we talk about these awards, and I've worked with you on the awards. I've even entered your awards as well. And it happens in awards too. These monkeys, they tell us that we're not good enough to enter the awards. And that's what's holding so many people back, Debbie, from entering your awards and potentially, growing their business, winning an award, being a silver winner. They're still all winners, aren't they, that get through the sort of approval process, if you like. They get judged. And when you get through the other side, having won many awards myself, it helps you build your confidence. So it's a bit like a chicken and egg. You've got to enter it to improve your confidence as well, or improve your self-belief. So, I want to talk today about these monkeys and not letting them stop you.
Yes. So, we all have these inner critics, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Talk about. So it's such a difficult topic, our mind, isn't it? And our thoughts hold us back, don't they?
Yeah, so absolutely.
Where do we start with this, trying to, get over this situation?
The first thing is to have the motivation to actually want to get over it. And I think anyone that's listening to this, live show or watching on recording is already showing that they're interested in doing something about it. But the motivation, it has got to be there to do something about it to begin with. And, what drives me is to make sure that we don't stay hidden. The people who have talent, your potential people who maybe want a promotion at work, want to enter an award, that they don't stay hidden and assume that, I'm doing a good job, so I'll get recognized. It doesn't work like that very often. I'm sure you know that, right? You've got to be able to shine your light, to show people what it is that you do and how good you are at doing it. And I know already I can hear people cringing, going, I don't want to show off and all this. So it's not about showing off. I've really rebranded that as shining your light. And in order to get your message out, you have to stand up, you have to be seen, you have to, have endorsements or have other people see you at the awards show or have more PR or, you can't, you can stay small, but if you stay small, you'll make less of a difference. You won't do the thing that you're that's inside of you that you can do. You won't make as much difference as if you step into your, into your power and you really shine your light and let other people see that. And I have a belief that the more you shine the light, the more you're affecting other people as well. You're helping them grow their confidence. Debbie, your confidence has grown, hasn't it? Even since I first met you. You're speaking at the front of those awards. It's, you're so confident and great at that. And there was a time when even you found that a little bit tricky, didn't you?
Oh, yeah, because I remember you saying to me, so just for context, Dee used to be the presenter at the awards. And she said, I think it was after the first or second year, you said to me, you need to do a speech at the beginning. And I was like, really? Oh, no, I don't think I do. You were like, yes, you do. You must. So in the end, I did. And I probably did the longest speech last year because it was our 10th birthday that I'd ever done. But yeah, people come up to me afterwards and say, it's great listening to what you said. And so therefore you do get over it when you realize that people are interested in what you're saying and they do listen to you.
Yeah. And it isn't about you. It's not like, they're listening to Debbie Gilbert. It's like her message speaks to me. Although it is Debbie Gilbert is brilliant. Yes. But that isn't what they're that isn't what's going through their brain. They're going, yes, you understand me. Yes, you're helping me. Yes, you get me. Yes, you're helping solve my problems. So the more we do that, the more we give to others. But so much monkeys is we're in our own head. We think, oh, they're looking at me, or it's all about me, or what will they think of me, or will they agree with me, or it's just easier to stay small, right? But that doesn't mean we're going to achieve what we want. So the kind of main monkey that most people have is this not being good enough monkey. It's a very common, I call them monkeys. Some people call it imposter syndrome, whatever the name is. It is holding you back from charging enough, or contacting your clients, or putting yourself forward for awards, or getting promotions if you work in a corporate organization. And there's awards in corporate organizations that I know people were happy to go. There'd be the different categories you have, for example. There's people that are going for your awards that are going for the Best Business Awards, for example, but won't go into Best Businesswomen Awards, right? Because they're very happy to tell people how good their business is, but they don't want to say, well, actually, I've got some responsibility over that. They want, oh no, it's not about me, it's about my team, which is lovely, but you also are a part of that team. So yes, it's about your team, but that includes you, right? Not except for you. So best business, when you win best whatever it is, best businesswoman award, or best
most inspiring businesswoman is our kind of.
And there's best boss. Is there something like that? Yeah.
Well, there's female leader this year. We used to have best boss, and there's female leader, which actually this year is going to be open to employees and people who run their own business, because we want to recognise the women out there that are leading teams really, really well and making a real difference.
Great.
And
so that's where I'd be interested to see if they are entering some categories. Actually, you could encourage them from listening to this. If you've entered the ones about your business, why you should, and why not enter the ones about yourself as well. But I'll tell you why not, because little monkey says you're putting yourself forward, and we often get told to not show off. But one of the things that's really interesting, Debbie, is I was speaking to a client yesterday, and he shared this Dunning-Kruger effect, which I hadn't actually heard of before. I don't know if you have.
No, what is it?
Well, it's the opposite of the imposter syndrome, which says that those people who are less good and perform lowest actually think they perform the highest. So
we get that. Yeah, we get that in the awards.
If all the good people aren't putting themselves forward for an award because they're having an imposter syndrome, think they're not good enough, and then all the not so good people are putting themselves forward and saying, why didn't I win? I'm sure you've judged some of those.
Oh, we've had that a number of times, where also people feel like they don't have to fill in the entry properly because the judges should look at their traction online, and they've got millions of followers, and therefore they should be judged on the basis that they've got 1 million followers on social media, that kind of thing, where I don't need to bother filling in an entry form properly, because they should be able to just go, yeah, this is a great businesswoman, without actually asking any of the questions.
So they might be the people in the Dunning-Kruger effect. So there was this survey, and 95% of managers, i.e. 95% of managers, think that they are in the top, perform in the top 50%. Wow. But that's mathematically impossible, right? So everybody's saying, oh yes, I'm in the top 50%. Well, only 50% should be in the top 50%. So a lot of people overestimate. So that's not the people we're talking to today, because the people we're talking to are already going, well, I have this kind of worry about, am I good enough, or do I want to enter the awards? So, that's totally okay. But just to know that double reason to do it is, if you don't do it, somebody else with a business that isn't as good as yours is going to be serving those customers that wanted your product, or those clients that wanted your service aren't going to get it, because they're going now to somebody who maybe isn't that good but thinks they are. That's even another reason, isn't it?
That's totally another reason. And that was really like the main driver for setting up the awards, was the women that I thought were actually brilliant, who weren't entering the awards that were currently out there, which is going back to 2015.
Yeah.
And that's why I set up my own awards, because I felt that I wanted to create something that women felt comfortable stepping forward for. And they do, but there's still a lot of women I know that I really wish you would step over that barrier and get your entry in and actually start to be recognised for all the amazing things you do.
Yeah.
So what sort of techniques can you advise that people can do if they are still hanging around on the wrong side of the fence and not jumping over and jumping in to enter?
Yeah, or even the people that have entered but want to enter the more, personal, individual recognition ones as well. So another group of people to encourage there as well.
Yeah,
so there's kind of two areas really. There's, personal development, something I'm absolutely, passionate about. In fact, I've done about 130 hours of personal development this year already, and that doesn't include homework or podcasts or anything. That's just like training courses. So I'm into personal development. I think it's always a journey. There's always more to do. But if you haven't done any yet, then I highly recommend doing it. And even if you've done some, then keep pushing yourself, because the more you push yourself, the more boundaries you have to cross, right? These monkeys they can go away for that level, but then when you push yourself to another level, I remember I was interviewed on ITN, and I had some monkeys then, right? Because that was a big deal for me. Still would be a big deal. So you can tame your monkeys, but the more you push yourself, the more you need to then tame more new monkeys, or the same monkey, but in a different context. So personal development, something that I'm passionate about. I work with people to do like executive coaching and personal coaching around getting rid of this monkey in the first place. So where did it come from? Often, but almost always our childhood, between 0 and 7. But here's a classic example of why we might have a not good enough monkey is, when we came out the womb and we were being sick everywhere and doing all these disgusting things, we got this love from our parents, hopefully, or our primary caregiver. And we didn't have to do anything for that. We didn't have to perform. We were actually puking all over you and you still loved us, right? And then we kind of grow up a bit, and eventually maybe the hormones wear off for the mother that sort of unconditionally loves the baby. And now it's more like maybe they're not quite so magically attentive. But then when the child, for example, starts to learn to walk, all of a sudden there's so much attention. Oh, they walk. Look at that. They're walking. And that might be, for example, where we learn, if I do this task, success, then I will get love, right? So now I'm good enough because I can walk. And from a very early age, we may learn, therefore, that I need to perform this task to be good enough. I need to be this task, which of course isn't true, right? But you can see how we might get something like that monkey, yeah? So if that happens, then we take that on now, however old we are, me, several decades. If you continue with that, then you think you're not good enough because now you need to be this level of turnover or this level of profit or whatever good enough is. And you'll never get there because, what is good enough anyway? And you hear these Olympians talk about it, that they think they've got like 68 titles and they still say, I still need to get to the next one, not through drive necessarily, but because they still need to prove that they're the best in the world. So that's where it can come from. Personal development can definitely help. And the technique that I talk about with monkeys is firstly to catch the monkey. So to find out where in your childhood he came from. Again, it doesn't have to be a traumatic thing, like even that walking, or it could be a teacher that you only got 9 out of 10 on a maths test. You're not good enough. Those kind of innocent things that happen can cause a little monkey to be born. Then sort of catching the monkey, connecting with it, finding out where it came from. Catching it is like understanding which monkey it is. If not good enough, or you're stupid, or you're too old, or you're too young, or whatever your monkey might be. There's different ones. And then challenging the monkey is the final step, which is showing that actually the monkey, it's not true. You are, and we wouldn't say good enough, but we'd replace it with a helpful monkey, which is I'm capable, confident, and clear. Or something much more helpful. Not quite affirmations, but a little bit like that. They're not just affirmations because now you believe it, because you've done the process of the monkey taming. So a lot of people try to skip straight to challenge the monkeys, the last step, without doing the work in between. And that broadly doesn't work so much. But so there's longer term things you can do. I also do something called motivational maps, and there's 9 motivators that drive us. And one of them is called star motivator, which is this need for recognition. Now, lots of people have that high up their motivational map, which means they like having recognition. So some people might have that lower down. And then the problem with having it lower down, I'm not saying it's wrong, but it might be too low if you want to achieve something, you're right, that you need to shine your light. So I often talk to people about how can they increase their star motivator if they want to achieve certain things and where that might be. So there's kind of personal development work if you want to do the work. And then there's kind of quicker fixes, right? Temporary fixes, but they still work in the moment. You can change your body, you can change your voice, and you can use your visualization skills as well to do techniques in the moment. They're NLP techniques. So one of the most common ones that people might have heard about is changing the tone of that voice, or changing this voice. So this monkey says, "You're not good enough." And if he says it to me in that voice, he probably doesn't. I mean, I do it in that voice to actually change my mind about it. But probably he's going to sound to you like, "You're not good enough," or, whose voice is it that you're hearing? Is it male or female? Is it loud? But it's not going to be happy, probably. It's going to be quite critical voice, isn't it? If it's coming in on this side, on your right-hand side, and it's critical and negative and fast, you then can change that voice and turn it into, like I did, the Punch and Judy voice. "You're not good enough." You can change the voice and make it change positions. So maybe, come from further away or behind you is often better to put it behind you. Little Punch and Judy voice, maybe a little bit more, "You're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough, you're not good enough." Just making you laugh. That's brilliant. Yeah. That's so different from how you maybe are used to hearing the voice. "You're not good enough." So changing what we call in NLP, the submodalities of the voice, but the tone, the speed, what it sounds like, the energy behind it. That's one technique that will work in the moment. Visualizing, lots of people and athletes use positive visualization, don't they? So you could take, this, if I'm not good enough, whatever the picture is for you, what people laughing at your entry. Are you picturing somebody looking at your entry going, "Oh my goodness, who does she think she is?" And then you can change that to, sitting around that award table, talking to your peers and feeling on top of the world, knowing that you're with these other brilliant business people, that you're business women or business people that you're sitting around, because it's not only women that come to the awards, right? So, sitting with these really high level people in your owning where you are, whether you win or not, they're all winners, but whether you're the overall winner or whether you're a silver winner or, they're all winners, aren't they, Debbie, at your event? And I love that, because it's not just some PR. It's genuinely what you believe, isn't it? Tell us a bit more about that, because I was on that journey with you around that, wasn't I?
Yeah, I think it came from the fact of my own experiences at awards and sort of, going along, and you've put in all this effort, first of all, to your entry and put yourself out there and done it and been selected as a finalist, and you go along to the ceremony and only the actual winner of each category was recognised. And I started to think, why is that? Why is that? If you've got a selection process and these people are picked because they are great at what they do, why are the only people getting recognised the ones from one person from each category?
Yeah.
And some of them had highly commended, or they might do a silver award for one person. So I just thought, yes, there's an additional cost. Of course there is, for giving every single person an award. But actually, isn't that about recognising their achievements? So that's where it came from. And we brought it in 5 years ago. And it was the very best decision I made, because actually people leave the event with so much more confidence and so much more a feeling of accomplishment than walking out the door with nothing. And some awards don't even give you a certificate. You get nothing. So my own thoughts were, if you're going to be brave enough to do it and courageous enough to do it, then you should be, and you get selected, you should be recognised for that.
Yeah. And it is, as somebody who has had a silver award from your awards after I stopped comparing, of course, I couldn't enter whilst I was doing the comparing, of course. But, having got a silver award, it does feel nice. You do feel recognised, and you have your little trophy. And, some people might think that's silly, but when you work often, if you work on your own, or if it's just nice to have that recognition sometimes, isn't it?
Yeah, because when you're in a corporate career, you're going to get probably an annual appraisal or every 6 months, depending
hopefully
on.
in a good business, that is.
Yes, in a good business, and people are assessed on what they've done and what they've achieved and what their goals and objectives are. And when you work for yourself, there is nobody doing that for you. No one. The buck stops with you. You are responsible for everything. And even if you've got staff, you're still not going to have anyone, who's going to sit you down and tell you what you're doing wrong, what you're doing right, and what you're doing brilliantly. So awards are actually a great way of getting that overall assessment from business experts about how well you're doing. I wanted to throw something at you about comparisonitis, because we see a lot of this when we announce the list of finalists. People say, oh, I had a look at the other finalists and, oh, I don't think I'm going to win the gold award. And they get into this whole comparison thing, or they might look at our winners from last year and compare themselves and think, oh, I'm not really good enough. I mean, comparisonitis is a big thing, isn't it, really?
It's the same monkey, isn't it? It's that they've got over their monkey enough to put themselves in, which is great. Yeah. But now they're experiencing the same monkey, which is I'm not good enough compared to. The very word I'm not good enough has comparison in it, right? Compared to walking versus not walking. I'm not good enough. 9 out of 10 versus 10 out of 10. You've got to have comparison in order to have not good enough. That's a problem with the monkey. You'll never get there, right? So that's what they're doing. They're comparing themselves to that. In public speaking, people compare themselves to, to someone else who's a better public speaker. So it's the same, exactly the same thing. I'm not good enough, but now they're just judging against these other people, or judging against this, or judging against that, or, so it is exactly the same monkey. And it's the same problem, but yes, absolutely. It just gives them reasons to do that. And people do this, but it's much easier if you can get rid of that monkey and feel that it actually, is such a nice place to believe that there is no competition, to go, I'm shining my light. This is what I do. Here's my business. I think it's been successful and my clients think it's successful. Here, you judge it. And then there's another business that does another thing. Even if they're a training business, they're still not me. I bring something unique to my clients. Another training business, I can't say it today, brings something else unique. So, the competition, I don't look at my competition. I don't do that. I mean, I think when I first started out, of course I did, because I wanted to learn and see where the gaps in the market were. But I don't now look at my competition and say, what are they doing and what am I doing and all that. Unless an award entry asks you to, because of course sometimes they say, what's your competition doing? But broadly speaking, I might learn from them and see. I think it's interesting if I see what they're doing, but it's not, I don't see competition in that way, and it's not helpful to compare yourself directly to anyone. The only helpfulness of comparison is to go, oh, they're doing that well. That's great. I might integrate that. Or they're not doing that well, which is maybe some of the motivation for your awards. I can do this much better. But the comparison of are they better or worse than me is not particularly helpful, I don't think. And I believe in changing your mindset to believe things that are helpful to where you want to go.
Yeah, which is great advice. And I always say to people, look, at the end of the day, if you've got a business that's got great processes, that you're making a profit and you've got satisfied customers, they are the ingredients for entering awards. I mean, that is the ingredient, and you just need to sit down and get over yourself and write the entry. And it isn't bragging. It really isn't bragging at all. It's about you getting onto the entry form, all the things that you've done in your industry, in your business, with your clients. And we talked the other day, actually, I did a session about thinking about what categories to enter and how to answer the questions. And one of the things that I've got is a brainstorm document, and it's about going through that document and just doing a bit of a brain dump. And I think when you do that, you sit there and you read that can really help silence the monkeys, because you've got that list of things that you've actually done. I can read that. I know I've done all of these things. Do you think that's another good thing for people to
Absolutely.
do. Mind maps.
Yeah, absolutely. Great idea. And the other thing is, Debbie, to get somebody on your side as well.
Yeah.
So you can either have a formal person help you with your award entry, which is actually what I did in my first set of awards, and I won the whole thing. I was over a winner, which was just amazing in 2011, a long time ago, and that was just mind blowing. I didn't have any idea that would even happen, so that was just like blew my mind. But what happened was that I got somebody to help me enter the awards because I didn't know anything about it or what I was doing. And she really was brilliant at picking out things that I'd done and that we'd done in our business that I would have not even ever put in an award entry myself. And she was like, so how many countries have you trained in, or how many continents have you trained? And I'm like, oh, quite, maybe 5 continents, or, it's like, well, she picked just things like that. And I remember she added up, like, because most of my expenses, my, there's my profit, and then most of my outgoings were with local businesses. And so even though you're spending money, you're actually then providing income, for the community around you, right? You're maybe employing some people, or maybe even if you're not employing people, which I wasn't, you're still having a copywriter, a website person, a PR person, a VA, so I had about 5 or 6 people I was contributing quite a large part to their income. And she sort of made it, you see what a bigger impact. It's not just me actually in my turnover. It's all this other stuff that she just saw. And I was like, that's amazing. That was Isabel Moritz. She was brilliant at doing that for me. And since then, I've had other people help me as well. And you help people do that, don't you, Debbie?
But not for our Best Businesswomen Awards.
No, for other awards.
Businesswomen Awards. But we do have a list of people that we recommend through the Best Businesswomen Awards to help people with their entries, because it is exactly that. You're very close to your business, all the day-to-day stuff that you do, but sometimes you just miss those key elements, and it could be one key element that actually gets you the gold award. It can be one thing that you're doing that somebody else in that category isn't, or something you've accomplished that can be the reason why you get that gold award. And it's great to have a silver, but it can be the difference even between being shortlisted and not shortlisted. Sometimes people make very generic statements in their award entry, and this is one of the things I was talking about the other day, is be very specific. Don't make a generic statement like, we support lots of charities. You've got to say what you do and what that impact is. And when you're talking about customer service, we have great customer service. Well, that again is too generic. You've got to detail what you've done and why your processes are so good. So the devil's in the detail. And I think, once they've done your strategies and got their mindset in the right place, or got some help from somebody like yourself to help them with the mindset monkeys, then you need to go down the practical route and start listing everything out, for sure.
Yeah. And even if you don't want to go to a professional or can't afford it or whatever, then a friend, because your friends remember, they go, Debbie, do you remember that brilliant client that you worked with who bought you a bunch of flowers, or I forgot about that, or they remember. I think we're not so good at remembering our successes, right? We remember the things we aren't doing so well, and then all these lovely successes we have, we forget. I often talk to my clients about something similar to your brainstorm thing, Debbie. Maybe you do this, but just every time you get something that makes you happy, like a compliment or a testimonial or a bunch of flowers or whatever, whatever you see as success, an email just saying thank you or a great feeling, to put it in a little bottle and then save it up till the end of the year, and you have a glass jar full of kind of like things that make you, or if you're feeling a bit down one day, you can just open your glass jar full of these kind of things. And I do that with several of my clients, and they just love it, especially when they're feeling like not so on top of the world. Just having a little dip into that jar, going, I remember this memory, because those memories are so important to put us in the right state in order to be better, right? Because we can't serve our customers and clients when we're in a like, I'm not very good. When we're in the wrong state, we can't do that. Which reminds me, actually, Debbie, the other thing you can do in the moment is about body language, right? So being in the right state is so important. If you want to enter the awards, you want to do it from, if you were going to talk about body language, you want to do, let me just see if you can. So, from this stance, like, yes, I'm wanting to enter these awards, where we're upright and standing upright, right? Rather than, I don't think I'm ever going to be able to be in these awards. And if you notice, the difference between upright is so different. The energy when you're stood completely upright is so different. All you need to do is just a slight bend forward, and your sternum changes its position. And all of a sudden, that energy, in fact, you might have heard it in my voice, it's just totally different. And there's not much in it at all. The difference between, yes, I'm going to enter those awards, yes, I deserve this, or yes, I can do this, I can shine my light, versus, oh, I'm not very sure now. It's such a tiny difference, isn't it? So using your body, there's some research on that from Amy Cuddy about the power pose, standing for a couple of minutes, from Harvard University. Amy Cuddy did this research on this sort of power pose. So if you're thinking about something and a bit nervous about it, doing that for a couple of minutes. So those are kind of more temporary fixes, but they definitely work in the moment. So, depending on what you want to do, there's loads you can do about it. But I would say body language, you're not going to enter the awards and feel positive if you slumped on the couch. Make sense?
Totally. I could talk about this for hours. It's such an interesting topic. So let's just summarize. Thanks for joining me today, giving up your time to talk about this. And let's just summarize. Do you want to do the little summary at the end?
Well, okay. So I think that it's important to tame your monkeys so that you can shine your light and achieve what you want to achieve, to reach more people. So don't think of it as showing off. Don't think of it all about you. Think about how you can inspire others by stepping up. Then think about what it is that's going on. Notice your little monkey voices. I'm not good enough. I'm comparing myself to other people. And then do something about it. Either little short-term tips and techniques. You can, change that monkey voice in your head to a different voice. You can visualize more of a positive outcome. You can change your body language. You can do all three. Get yourself into a great state. And longer term, I'm a personal development advocate. Go and do some personal development, with a professional, or there's so much online now these days as well. You can YouTube stuff. There's really no excuse not to be doing personal development, and improving your mind, improving what you say to yourself, improving how you treat yourself. Debbie, the things we say to ourselves, we would never say to another person. So why is it acceptable to say it to yourself? It's not. And my final piece there, just maybe to motivate some more, is that you're teaching the next generation your habits and your thoughts, right? So even if you don't say anything in front of your children or nephews or young people, they can see it in your body language. They will be copying you. So please make it something that you want them to model.
Great. Well, if you've got to the end of this video, then hopefully you're going to feel super inspired to enter awards and put yourself out there and get that light shining on you. So thank you for joining me today, Dee. We will make sure Dee's details are in the comments if you want to get in touch with her and find out more about the stuff that she does. And our awards are open until the 10th of June. So you've got plenty.
And you give loads of resources, don't you, Debbie, to help people?
We have got a ton of resources. There are lots of videos on our YouTube channel talking about how to enter. We have a little awards toolbox, which we send out on our email every week. So, and we're always there as well. If you want to ask us any questions, don't be frightened. Just pick up the phone or send us an email. So thank you for joining us today, Dee.
Thank you. Me and my monkey say goodbye.
Bye, monkey.